okay.
You'll have enough energy for the first like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I'll die out. My cream of rice will just get expended through me, and I'll be like, oh, I'm out of carbs. I just can't function. Yeah, all is good. I am currently. What day is it? Thursday. Is it 9 days? 10 days? 10 days.
Well,
out?
if we don't include today's half a day. So
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 9 days and then the show day. 9.5 days out.
9.5 days out. That's mad. Single digit days out. This is.
But that's from a show that's not the main show.
Yeah, not the main show. This is a warm-up show for the PCA. That'll be on the 7th of May, and then I am 2.5 weeks out from the main show that I need to be 100% for, and then it'll be a case of 2 weeks out till the Poland Pro Qualifier, which again I need to be 100% for. So yeah, exciting times coming around quick. A few slight a few slight changes have gone in, but if anything, it's been very much a case of like rinse and repeating the basics at this point. Like, conditions pretty much there. Like, for men's physique, I don't need to be any sharper. Like, I'm pretty much there condition wise, even for bodybuilding. Like, I think the last like week or so has been like you get to a certain point and it's like, okay, cool, now you're pretty much ready. And once I wash off a bit of fatigue, drop off some just general stress, inflammation, etc., that I'm naturally going to be carrying through training, cardio, steps, etc., and then likewise fill up, I think I'll be pretty good, all things considered. That being said, you can always be sharper. You can, and it's really relative to the look. Like my men's physique shots, we've been saying, like my men's physique shots, as I've dug under 100 kilos, haven't got any better.
I'd say it's literally been the last week.
Yeah. Like
the last week, you've got a bit flat.
Yeah, which is
really
surprising because last prep I got flat from like 5 to 6 weeks out. And it was hard. It was so challenging to even revive the look. Where this time, like I've maintained fullness pretty much across the entirety of the prep.
Performance has been very good.
Performance has been like I'm almost. I think I'll take like, unless it completely dies, but I can't imagine it will now. But I think I'll take the performance side of things in this prep like highly when I look back, because I've not really gotten any weaker at all. Like there's definitely movements where there's not going to be that same level of stability, and like on some presses I'll end up unracking it thinking to myself this feels like a 20 repper, and I end up dying out with 4 to 5 reps what I feel like are in reserve. But when it comes to actual peak performance and peak strength, like my leg pressing is the same if not better. My like upper body movements, my pressing is sound, my pulling, my rows are legitimately the exact same. My hip hinges, I've changed it to a dumbbell RDL, so I wouldn't know, but that would have objectively become a lot worse just due to less body fat and less stability. But in general, in all aspects, my performance is
literally just
really good spot. Yeah, it's just been the hinges. Yeah,
been the same really.
Which is really positive. So the last pretty much last couple of weeks we were refeeding on Sunday and Monday, but as we've kind of said, like they were refeeds, but they weren't really like refeeding relative to actually filling me up. It was more so a bridging period of a little bit more food.
I don't think any refeed would ever reach peak fullness.
No, definitely not.
Unless you were doing a full sort of, unless you're peaking.
Yeah.
Like I think refeeds, the purpose of them are to basically get you out of a bit of a hole.
Yes.
Fill you up somewhat, but you're not going to be peak fullness from 2-3 days even. Like, even if you have a full week, like I was saying to you, at your body weight and at your amount of muscle, like you need 7 to 10 days minimum. Like you don't need 2 days of filling up. Like I think everybody requires probably at least a minimum of a week where you're gradually trying to actually just fill up.
Yeah.
Because even if you think like you'll probably just be filling up from almost now until your last show, probably.
Yeah.
And you'll probably just be getting a little bit better each time as you get a bit fresher.
Yeah.
You drop a bit more fatigue. You look probably a bit fuller. You've had a bit more
So
practice and a bit less sort of stress and
nerves. Is the fat loss done? Am I done with the fat loss?
Yeah, it's probably done like 5-6 times.
Yes, guys, you're watching a clip from the Once You're In podcast. Please head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and follow us along there as well.
Days ago.
Yeah, it's quite funny that I thought that like literally about a week ago. I was like trying to work out in my head. And this is the funny part of
the thing is that as well, like, fat loss is done for men's physique, for your category.
Yeah.
Like I said the other day, if you were to be doing bodybuilding, you'd probably have started filling up earlier, and then you'd have had more frequent refeeds and probably fill up a bit more.
Yeah.
Along the way to assess
I think,
look a bit more.
I think it's an interesting one because objectively I could step on a open bodybuilding stage, condition wise, and I wouldn't look out of place. I'd be sharper than a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah,
but it's all relative. It's all relative to sharpness, relative to what's going to be best. Like, have I got IFBB Pro elite level open condition right now. No, I'd say I probably need another.
I think you have through some body parts.
Yeah, I'd say through some, but I'd say like my glutes would have to have more muscle relative to like actually me being able to demonstrate them looking really, really good. And then my lower back could be a touch sharper. That's something that I think I'll always have where it could always be sharper, but then is that going to be a detriment to the areas that I need more either muscle in or need to hold that fullness in? So this is when bodybuilding is quite challenging, because it's not like condition is condition. And I think like a lot of people will say, I said to Finn when I walked in here, I had a coach who said to another individual that I know, Reece needs to be eating, Reece needs to be filling up, Reece shouldn't be this lean, and stuff like that. And the amount of people that have said the same sort of stuff. And I'm not going to say you're flat out wrong, because everyone's got an opinion. But I also think as well, like, people don't understand. Photos, what we said, will do you more favours. But then at the same time, like, it's all relative to how you look and how well you hold a look. So the plan of action right now is, like I said, it's been a case where we've been refilling kind of to somewhat of a degree over the Sunday and Mondays. We've slowly started to taper down cardio. So cardio was at 45 minutes on rest days and then 35 minutes on train days. That's just been brought down to half hour baseline pretty much across the board. And then it was literally a case where we ran baseline food Tuesday and Wednesday, and I dropped pretty significantly Tuesday, Wednesday. And what we found is, like, every time I come back down to a baseline after a fill-up, I get back down to a new low at a quicker pace, and also it's a lot more aggressive. So it's Thursday today, obviously the day we're doing the podcast. Today is another fill-up. So it was literally a case where the last 4 or 5 days...
Today is probably one of the first, like, where we're actually... Well, you're not going to be full, but actually, like, looking to gain a decent chunk of weight. Yeah. Well, not even just today, but over the next 7-8 days.
Yeah.
9 days.
Yeah.
8 days.
So basically, guys, I'm having a burger. Having a Five Guys.
Cheating on this diet.
Having a Five Guys, bro. Can't wait. I've legitimately had in mind. So basically, today's plan of action is what we're running. And I ran this by Finn yesterday, and I was actually thinking about this because the last few days, like I said, the last week, it's gone a bit flat. So I was like, right, I've got time, let's play around with something that's a little bit different. So what we are doing is we're running my usual refeed on a Sunday. So this is pretty much 4 meals of around 100 to 115 carb. So literally first meal, bagels and eggs and turkey, rashers. And then my second meal, third meal, fourth meal, cream of rice, a rice cake, some fruit and some whey and dark chocolate. It works out, like I said, around 100-ish, 100 plus carb, 10 fat, and then about 52 protein per meal. And then the final meal is going to be all you can eat, 10 burgers. I'm going to go to Five Guys and just get as much food as I can. No, in all seriousness, I think we said just a regular burger and a medium fries.
Yeah, maybe get a double cheeseburger.
A double cheese? Can I get a bacon? What?
Yeah, double bacon cheeseburger and a medium fry.
This is coming from somebody who, in my entire life, I've had.
Even that, though, you'll get that burger and you'll eat it and you'll be like, oh yeah, that was nice, but you won't be like, oh, I'm so full. Like,
you don't think?
Nah, mate, nah. The fries are quite big. If you got a large fries, if you got a double bacon cheeseburger and you got a shake, then I think you'd be very full.
Yeah, I wouldn't want a shake.
But like we said, I don't think you should have a shake just based on like the dairy and stuff that you've not had like throughout the majority of the diet. I think, like we said yesterday, like protein-wise, protein quality is actually relatively high from a Five Guys. Yeah. Fats quality, it's not great, but it's not horrendous.
No, it's still decent.
Yeah, it's not like you're just having cookies.
Yeah.
Like,
oh wait, bro, can I have a cookie dealer after?
No, you can't have cookie dealer.
Can I have a cookie dealer after, bro?
No, you gotta wait till post show.
Oh, it's post show.
Are they in the freezer?
Yeah, they're in the freezer waiting
Get
for me. I look at them every night. I walk by them and go, oh, there they are.
That's what I do with those donuts that they
Yeah.
And then obviously the fries, like the reason realistically for the burger, it's the same as like I was saying to you yesterday with Jack Buff last year. He'd have sushi like what ended up being towards the end, every like 5 to 9 days, something like that. And it worked really well. Like, he got really full, he actually spilled every single time. He spilled over very slightly, and then within a day, pretty much the day, not the morning after, but the day after that, he looked his best. So we're like, okay, cool, let's just run this protocol then. Like, basically do exactly what we've been doing, and then we knew he was going to look his absolute best on the day, and he did. Like, so that's kind of what we're doing now, is over the next few days just assess, right, how do you look after you did this, how do you look after you did that. You've got plenty of time. Like, again, this is not the main show. That's what people like need to remember. Like, and I say to, I've got clients who have got shows in like 14 weeks or 16 weeks. But they've also got shows in 24 weeks, 26 weeks. It's like, exactly. That's your main show. Like, usually that's the finals.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, I think it's 24 weeks out, something like that, from the finals. Or 23, 24. 17 from the first.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not 17 weeks out. realistically. I'm 23, 24.
Yeah,
and that's the show that I'm mainly aiming for.
Yeah.
So that's the same with you. Like, we can trial filling up now, we can trial different types of filling up. Let's say tomorrow you feel horrendous, and the day after you feel horrendous, and you're throwing up because you've had a Five Guys, and it makes you feel ill.
Yeah.
Then we know not to do that. Like, and if anything, we'd go, okay, we probably shouldn't have done that. But that won't happen.
No.
You know what I mean? But like that has happened.
And that's why I said to you when you were like, well, you'd have to do it now, and I was like, yeah, I will. Like, I don't want to do it a few days out.
No.
I don't need a burger. I don't even in my off season. I don't eat burgers. I've always been a burger hater. I've always said the only reason why we're doing it now is just because the let's say the nutrient density, like, and then as well when it comes to the volume of food, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, you can get a couple of thousand calories in,
and it's not going to be too much of an issue. Where like I could easily, like for example, my off-plan meal would either be like a burrito or potentially like a pizza. But to me, those are foods that I would want to actually enjoy. Where I look at this more as an objective.
Yeah, it's actually to just help the process.
This isn't like, oh yeah, I get a mental break where I get to enjoy a meal. This is more so, okay, cool, it's going to be a nice meal. It'll be a bit different, but it's not going to be like...
That does help as well, like just in terms of dropping off stress and fatigue. Like,
But if it's down to me, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go get a Nando's. But trying to get the same amount of calories in a Nando's would be way more of a challenge than just going and get a Five Guys. So, so pretty much 4 meals today, Five Guys on top. If we were to predict, like, what do you reckon for...
Over here at Once You're In, You're In, we really appreciate the support. So we appreciate the story tags. Please keep them coming because it means ever so much when it comes to social media and engagement. Thank you.
Next few days in the sense of see how things are. Do you reckon maybe run baseline tomorrow, like baseline training day? Because baseline training day, like, I drop weight, but it's not like the food's stupidly low, but it's low relative to the fact I am dropping weight on it. Yeah. So it's almost one of those where like my training day food, I don't really like. I could eat that every day and be like, oh yeah, I'm sound. Like I don't get hungry. I don't get hungry on my rest days. I don't really get hungry at all. I'm at that point where I drop weight. My body's very very responsive at this point, and like. From a psychological standpoint, like I'm excited to see how the look is over the next few days, but like my actual food, I couldn't really care. Like if you were to say, okay, do the same again tomorrow, I'd be like, okay. Like I wouldn't be like, oh my god, another burger.
I think tomorrow you'll look pretty good. I think you'll look a bit watery in the morning. I think you'll look really good post-workout just because of the increased sodium. I think you'll look really, really good and you'll be like, oh, like this is mint. And I don't think you really need to have baseline food again, to be honest. I think we'll just start gradually reversing out. Like,
so current
baselines will just be going up. Like
to Five Guys every night?
Every
oh
night,
my god, guys. Five Guys every night protocol is in. No, so baseline food currently on training days like 280 carb, 33 fat, and then like 260 protein, like 256 protein.
I'd base it off the refeed. So if you think like the refeeds, you've been having 750 carbs on training days, 600
and that's about
on
a
rest
kilo
days.
gained.
So you don't need that much. You probably need 500 to 550, and you'd probably be about maintenance, I think.
Okay.
And then on a rest day, you've been having 600, but you actually
drop weight every time.
Drop weight. But I think the reason that you drop weight on those rest days is just dropping stress.
Yeah, my Sundays, like for people that don't know, well, I don't think we mentioned this on the podcast. My Sundays are like stupidly chilled out in relation to my days.
Stay in bed, don't you?
I wake up whenever I want. I then just lie in bed, watch the football. No, my Sundays are lovely. Like I get up, do my cardio, get some steps done. I then will have like a half a day's worth of work. So I usually will do like an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of work. I then get physio work done, so I get some like upper body, nothing too strenuous, literally just a bit of blood flow to my upper body. I then will have a sunbed. I then will have a meal, and then I'll go for a nice walk with my mum somewhere. Like we're literally just we've tried out loads of different like reservoirs, parks, and
makes
stuff like
steps
that.
easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it's nice. So we go for a nice walk with my dog, and then that literally I get all my steps done by like 2 p.m, 1 p.m. And then I come home, have another meal, and then usually the football's on, and I literally will just sit in. From that point onwards, it's almost like I give myself the afternoon. So it's like whatever I want to do, if I want to watch football, if I want to, let's say, get ahead of some work for the week, if I want to potentially play some FIFA, if I got Dead Island came out a couple of days back. That's going to be not this Sunday because I'm going to watch a football game. That's going to be my, like, if I have a weekend, I'm like, oh, I'm play a bit of Dead Island, stuff like that. So it's just a day that I can just chill out in the evening, afternoon, and then been watching a bit of Game of Thrones with my mum, actually. So that's what we've been doing on Sunday evenings. So it's basically like a day with my mum, which sounds quite funny to say, but it's actually been a really nice day. So usually I wake up the following day and I'm a good chunk of body weight down just because it's such a relaxed day where...
I think realistically the refeed macro is like, 750, 600. I don't think you'd need to put your rest day baseline up to 600.
No, I don't think I need 600
I think
carbs.
maybe what you want is 125 carbs or something.
140.
Yeah, double it, 300.
Yeah.
And have like 500 on trade days, and then just see. And if you're still dropping, okay, 600 and 350. Okay, 700, and like that's literally what I would recommend that we do over the next 7-8 days.
Yeah. More and just try and find.
And then if we think, well, not even maintain. It's like you're not going to step on stage at 98. I think you'd probably be on stage at 100, 101. Like it's hard to say because you might look fucking mint at 98, or you might look really good. Not fucking mint. You might look really good. I swore again. At like 98, 99. I'm just so passionate about bodybuilding. It's impossible to say. Like, well, it's not impossible to say. If I was to put my money on it, I'd say you'd probably be stepping on stage like low hundreds, based on just getting a lot fuller. And again, like we've said before, like the look for men's physique, realistically, you don't actually suit it in terms of the sort of grainy look that you achieve.
No.
Like you actually would need to probably spill a little bit and be very full to look good for men's physique. Okay. Like not that you don't look good for men's physique.
No, I agree. Like
to look better for men's
my
physique.
delts, for example, aren't men's physique delts.
No, they're too structured on Instagram.
They're too pointy and like the insertions aren't.
Your physique's almost like quite rigid. You're not like you pose well, but your physique is quite rigid. Like if you were to draw it, it's like you draw it with like sharp edges. Whereas like with some bodybuilders, you draw like really round.
Yeah, it's bubbly.
You're not a round and bubbly kind of bodybuilder, but you can be if you get pretty full and you spill a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And then that'll be that. And then Operation Road to Open afterwards. Unless I get my pro card now, I just go.
I think you've already got that in your head, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I want to show my legs next time, Pete.
Yeah, you need to be careful because you might die.
What do you mean?
Taking too many drugs.
Don't take drugs, kids. Stay natural. So yeah, that's an update on me. Everything's all good.
It's quite exciting.
It is, isn't
at
it?
this point, it's a lot more exciting.
Yeah, like I feel like
there's more things going on.
This is when it's a prep. This is when it's a prep. Like, I think, and this is the part where, like, for example, like you've got to embrace it and enjoy it because this is what you look back upon, and you really miss these times because, for example, I woke up yesterday and like just doing cardio, doing steps. I was like, I feel like my legs felt horrendous. I was battered from the leg session.
If you're enjoying and you want to make sure to keep up with our social media content, we have a TikTok and we also have an Instagram below. Click the link, give us a follow, and we'll catch you on there.
Monday, Jesus Christ, I was in like not a bad mood. My mood was fine. I was just so slow, and I get annoyed at myself when I train. After I train, I'm sound because it's all the pressure's off me. But I put so much pressure on myself to train well, and I shouldn't, but I do because I set standards on training well. That when I'm in my head in the gym and I'm like, I feel really fucking sluggish. I feel really slow. It annoys me that I feel slow. It makes me
it's annoying that you're saying that as well in your head.
Yeah. So I'm just quiet. Like and Finn said like after the session, he was like, I can tell you're not 100%. I'm like, well, it's annoying because like in my head, because I put so much pressure on myself to train well, if I don't feel good, I'm like, I have to put all that pressure into the sets and into the gym.
Yeah, which you don't have energy at that point to be, hey mate, you're right. Like your energy is solely spent on. But in
my head, I'm not like, oh, I don't want to be here. I'm sound. It's just I'm quiet.
Yeah.
And it's a very challenging thing. And I think like some people just at this point of a prep would not care about their training at all. Like they'd literally just be like, well, just going in, ticking a box, moving blood around, part of it. Strength, not that. Well, I'm like, no. I've worked so hard to get my strength to this point. It's not dropping off. It is not dropping off. So I had to put everything into my sessions. And it gets to a certain point where we just have to, if anything, look at it and think like, after I train, I'm sound, I feel good. But these are the parts of the prep that you have to embrace because I woke up, like I said, yesterday and my legs were battered. I feel pretty trashed. Came into the office to have a sunbed. My mum looks at me and she goes, "You're right." And I'm like, oh, my head's a bit all over the place. Like I feel pretty flat, body weight's down. Like I'm almost a bit like I just need to chill out a little bit. But then come the evening, I've trained really well. The session was awesome. I looked at myself in consistent lighting, so I was more accurate where I posed post-workout on Tuesday in lighting I'd not posed at, and I was a bit like, I just look a bit wank. And then Liverpool played, they won, and it was like, you go from highs and lows. And I think when you at a lean sort of set point, you're going to have those highs and lows, but you need to embrace when it's low and think it's just part of the process. There's going to be some sessions that you are a bit meh, unfortunately. There's going to be some cardio sessions that you're like, Jesus Christ, my legs feel horrendous.
Most of the time towards the end.
Yeah, there's going to be some interactions and conversations that you get and you're just like, Jesus Christ, just leave me alone. But again, that's part of it and you need to embrace that. And I got asked, Russell, my mum's boyfriend, said to me like today, he was like, "Oh God, you surely can't feel that good." And I was like, "Well, you do. You survive. You just carry on, but you don't think of much other than what am I doing in the next hour? What am I doing in the next 2 hours?" And I think you just have to break it down, and you have to remember that you're doing this yourself. Like I'm doing this. It's wicked that I'm in this position now.
If you don't want to do it, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. So yeah, like everything's all good. Some days are a bit more tough. Some hours are a bit more tough, but objectively, everything's sound. So
And you get a burger.
I get a burger tonight, guys.
You get a burger, so it's all good.
Yeah, life's great.
Right, so that is an update on where Reece is at, and obviously you can tell he's very excited for his burger.
So
You have more life in this podcast than you have in about the last 3 months.
I've
mate.
not been that bad, mate.
You're obsessed with that burger.
I've not been that bad.
You won't stop asking me about it.
No.
For the past 3 months, all you said is, "When can I have a burger?"
I didn't mention it. I
Every
didn't
morning.
mention a burger once till yesterday, and then Finn was like, "Yes, I'll go for it, mate. Makes sense."
I think that's the thing that people make out of such a big deal.
I couldn't care. Like, I couldn't care. Like, if you said to me, Reece, you're looking flat, go and get. I wouldn't eat sushi because I don't like sushi.
Yeah.
But if you could say anything, I'd go, "Yes, I'll do it." Like, the only thing I wouldn't want to do is I wouldn't want to have food that I actually enjoy, in the sense of. Like, obviously, I'm going to enjoy a burger. I said this, but I wouldn't want to I'd want a pizza when I'm done. I don't want a pizza because the job's not done in my head. So pizza to me is when it's done. My post show meal.
Post-workout meal, pizza.
No, I'm going to have an Oreo grenade bar and I'm going to have a pizza. That's
Have
what
you had one of those grenade bars yet?
No.
Me neither.
No.
I can't imagine it'd be very nice.
They came out when I started prep, so
It's just a grenade bar, mate.
yeah, but it's Oreo and I was a bit of a whore for Oreos.
Yeah, but you can't say whore. You said I can't swear.
Sorry guys, sorry to any whores out there.
Alright,